A little bit for our viewers what is money and why it really matters to them to understand this?
Well, I'd be glad to, but you raised an interesting question. Well, everyone thinks they know what money is. They look in their wallet and they got some dollar bills or $20 bills or whatever, and they say, "Oh, I got some money right here." Well, you call it money, but when I went to law school, the first thing I learned early in contract law was read the contract. So the paper money in your wallet or purse is a contract between you and the Federal Reserve. Well, read it. Along the top, it says Federal Reserve Note. It doesn't say money. It says Federal Reserve Note. Well, where I went to law school, a note is a liability. In other words, it's a form of debt. And that's what it is. If you look on the balance sheet of the Federal Reserve, it's publicly available. You can find it on their website. What most people call money is listed on the liability side. So I look at a dollar bill and say, well, it's money, sure, but it's also a perpetual non-interest bearing liability of an insolvent bank. So it gets your mind around that. And even the Federal Reserve, you ask them what money is. Well, they have, M for money, they have M0, M1, M2, M3, they all have different definitions. So which one is it? So even the Fed doesn't know what money is because they've got 4 different definitions of what money is. So just to kind of cut to the chase, money, classic definition of money, it's a medium of exchange. So you can use it to buy and sell things. It's a store of value. So if you have it, it's worth something and can be, utilized later. And it's a unit of account. It's a way to measure things and count things. The unit of account is probably less important. You can do that with baseball cards or bottle caps, and yeah, money's good for that, but so are a lot of other things. But the store of value and the medium of exchange are really important. And throughout history, feathers, shells, beads, gold and silver, credit cards, debit cards, they've all been different forms of money. Today we have cryptocurrencies. I'm not a big fan of cryptocurrencies. I don't recommend them, but they can be used as money. So people say, well, they're not backed by anything. The dollar's not backed by anything, or Bitcoin's not backed by anything, et cetera. Well, the truth is they're all backed by one thing, which is confidence. If I'm going to give you something and you have confidence that it has value, and furthermore you have confidence that you can give it to someone else and they'll accept it, then that's money. So the key to money, it has that 3-part definition, particularly store of value and medium of exchange. But what makes it money is confidence. But the problem is confidence is fragile. It's very easily lost and impossible to regain. So it's true that something can be money one day and not be money the next day if individuals lose confidence in it. And this is the debate I always have with the Federal Reserve and also these what they call modern monetary theory, MMT. Mm-hmm. I know I've met most of the top practitioners or supporters of that. Professor Stephanie Kelton of Stony Brook, State University of New York, Paul McCulley, formerly of PIMCO, and others, Warren Mosler and others. I've met a lot of them and had kind of one-on-one debates. And the one thing they don't get is the fact that confidence can be lost, because they say, well, what's the problem? You can print, the Treasury can borrow unlimited amounts of money subject to the debt ceiling, which gets raised. And then if the bond market has a problem, the Fed can buy the bonds, monetize the debt, put it on the balance sheet, and hold it for 30 years and get paid at maturity. So what's the problem? That's a tough argument to refute. It used to be that when progressives in particular, but any political faction said, well, we got to spend more money on a Green New Deal or free healthcare or free tuition or free childcare, whatever it may be. You could answer that by saying, well, yeah, but we can't afford it. As we can't afford to run those kind of deficits. But today they have an answer. The answer is, yes, we can. There's no limit on the amount of money that the Fed could print or the Treasury can borrow. And ironically, they look to Ben Bernanke to prove it, because Ben Bernanke did print $4 trillion to prop up JP Morgan and Jamie Dimon's bonus. And so they say, well, if you can print $4 trillion to help Jamie Dimon, why can't you print $4 trillion for the Green New Deal? That's a tough one to answer. Well, here's the answer. It has nothing to do with the debt ceiling or the Fed's balance sheet, because the truth is the Fed can print as much money as they want. There's no legal limit to it. But there is a psychological limit. There's a confidence boundary. and you don't find it until it's too late. You say, well, what's the confidence boundary? Well, it's probably less than 4 trillion because we've been there. But is it 5 trillion, 6 trillion? I don't know exactly where it is, but I do know it exists. And you'll find out the hard way when you hit it. And people say, you know what? I'm done. I'm out of here. Get me out of dollars. I want land, art, gold, silver, natural resources, water, well, anything except the dollar itself. And so confidence can evaporate almost overnight. So that's the answer to MMT. That's the answer to the big spenders. But they don't get it because you can't quantify it. It's psychological. You can't stick it in some general equilibrium model that the Fed uses. But it's there, and they'll find out the hard way when confidence is lost.